witches! Today we're going to talk about having an altar in a small space. I know this is a big issue for a lot of people because, some people live in dorm rooms or they share a room with somebody else. Maybe you have a tiny little itsy bitsy studio apartment, or your space is just small and all of the rest of your stuff takes up room. Well, here are several ideas for you to make a small space, altar space, work despite whatever your circumstances are. Now, don't think I forgot on last Wednesday's video. I know I was doing the giveaway of the printable scrying boards for your pendulum use. I do have a winner for you and they will be announced at the end of this video. So the first thing that I would recommend you do is consider what you specifically use your altar for. Do you like to use it as your spellcrafting workspace? Is it strictly for aesthetics because the look of it kind of gets you into that witchy mood? Do you use it for worship and leaving out offerings for deity or perhaps fae? Or maybe it's just a vision board for you and you like to put out correspondences of things that you are currently trying to manifest. Maybe it's a mix of all of the above, or maybe it's something else entirely. Just take a moment to think about what you use your altar for specifically, and hey, if it's a mix of all of those things, that is perfectly okay. But one of the biggest things that I will recommend is that you consider downsizing. If you're like me and you love going on Instagram and Reddit and looking at pictures of other people's beautiful altars, whether just because you can appreciate them or to get inspiration for your own, you'll notice a lot of people have these massive displays with all kinds of stuff out, and it looks like they have, every single crystal they own, 12 different candles, bundles of herbs and flowers, incense burning, their tarot deck, and then they've got, 8 different effigies, pentacles, the altar cloth, just everything. And that is wonderful. I mean, they always look great, but that's not exactly feasible for everyone. Don't think or feel like you have to put everything that you own on display. A few things I do recommend you consider keeping on your altar are, well, if you work with deity, a representation of that deity and a plate or bowl for offerings. Maybe 2 or 3 things that symbolically represent something that you're trying to manifest. And that could be in the form of herbs or crystals or a color correspondence. Even a sigil would be good. Just whatever you use, keep those out so you're keeping them in mind. And then again, this comes back to what you use your altar for. Maybe this is your space to meditate because that's where you're able to kind of, Pavlovian response. You sit down here, it gives you the feeling of you're calm, relaxed, ready to meditate. Well, in that case, maybe your altar is as simple as a focus crystal and a candle where you can stare into the flame or incense burning. It really doesn't have to be more complex than that. If you use your altar for a lot of different things and you do want to put all this stuff out, but having your area for work and then your area to worship God or goddess and your area of things you want to keep alive in your life, things that you're trying to manifest, and then this and then that. Well, if you really feel that it is best for your practice that you have a bunch of different items out, that's okay too. Maybe if you don't have one dedicated, massive table or dresser top or whatever it is to use as your altar, you find several small spaces. For instance, if one of the things you're trying to manifest is self-love, you can keep those items in your bathroom on right in front of the mirror, on the sink, the counter. If you want a space where you represent your elements, you could put this outside somewhere. Or if you have a potted plant, you can also just, use that soil as your base, as your earth, and then put little representations of air, water, and fire right there on top of the soil. And then maybe a back corner of your dresser for one thing, and then, a little section of your nightstand for something else. Just find several small places where you can put everything that you need for all of your different tasks and, things that you're trying to achieve with your altar, instead of just keeping it all in one place, because that's not entirely necessary. You might consider what you could hang up on the walls. Now, of course, a shelf would make an amazing altar, but that's, again, not always doable. But here's an example of one way you can utilize wall space for your altar. So as you can see here, I have this tapestry which shows the moon phases, which I really love because I love working with the moon phases, and it also shows, the life cycle. But then it's also got butterflies and flowers, just representations of beauty and nature in general. And to the left side here, I have this string of bells, which I can use for sound cleansing. They're, part of it is just their aesthetic. They're pretty, in my opinion. And it could really be left as simple as that. If you work with deity, over here I just set out a candle and a little offering dish. This could be your altar setup right here, just as simple as those 4 things. You could hang up a picture of a pentagram, sigils, pictures of deity. You get the idea. Another great way to utilize wall space is to make a collage. And this could be made up of magazine clippings, drawings, sigils that you've made. Print things out on your computer. Use construction paper to just cut out little blocks for color correspondences. Glue items to it. You know, you can glue herbs to it, or leaves, or twigs, or, you know. And then if you feel like you want a special way to kind of activate that and bring it to life a little bit more, just light a candle in front of it. Now, another idea is to utilize multi-purpose space. And I know a lot of Witchy 101 books are going to tell you, no, your altar needs to have its own space and it is dedicated to just that one thing. Well, personally, I disagree. I mean, if you work from home and you just spent the last 8 hours frustrated and tired at your computer, and then now you're supposed to just switch over and swing around in your chair over to your altar space and meditate or do spell work or worship deity, that might be a little bit hard, because it is sometimes difficult to dislocate your mental space from your physical space, which is why that it is recommended. It's one of the reasons why it's recommended that you have a separate altar space. But if you're one of those people who you don't really function that way, then this will work great for you. Or maybe all you need to do is throw out the altar cloth when you're ready to make it your altar space and use it that way. Do a quick cleanse of the whole area just to, you know, wipe the slate clean and go, okay, now it's altar time. Maybe like I do, you have a desk that's used for arts and crafts, or a computer desk where you do your work at. Well, just because it's used for one thing doesn't mean you can't set up an altar there. I would just recommend separating it from the rest of, you know, your items, and just treat that area a little bit differently. Make sure to keep it nice and clean and keep the rest of your work stuff out of, you know, that space. Another good idea for cutting down on the clutter, well, I hate to use the word clutter, but you know, another good idea for cutting down on the items that you have is to use multi-purpose items. Say you're a Wiccan and you like representations of both the god and goddess. Well, not only is a bell a symbol for the goddess, but you can also use it for sound cleansing. If you like to have just a candle burning at random times or just sitting there because it looks nice, make it a color correspondence for something that you're trying to manifest. Or if you want something to represent the earth on your altar, and you also want to have a rose quartz for self-love or to build a relationship, just those can be one and the same. You don't need to worry about having the rose quartz and then also having, you know, a plant. Just the biggest thing here is to get creative with it, both with the, you know, multi-purpose items, but also with the space that you use. Like I said, it could be in the section of your garden, the back corner of a dresser, or a nightstand. One really fun idea is to use a drawer. And that's also a really great one if you're in the broom closet, or maybe you have a cat that knocks over stuff, or you share space with somebody else and maybe you're not in the broom closet, but it's still, you know, a little personal for you. And I think one of my favorite places to set up a mini altar is going to be on a windowsill. If you don't live directly in the middle of a city, you're gonna have some sort of nature outside. It's a space that's not usually dedicated to anything else. You can get a constant stream of sunlight to keep everything cleansed. And then if you have things that you want to put out to charge in the full moon, I mean, you don't have to worry about setting them outside. It's already right there on the windowsill. I would love to see pictures of your altars, big or small, so please either link them down in the comments below or post them up on Instagram and tag me in them. And finally, what some of you have been waiting for is the announcement of the winner of my very first giveaway, and the winner is Raven Morning Glory. Congratulations, Raven. Please contact me. You can get in touch either through an Instagram direct message or through email, both of which are down here. Shoot me your email address and I will send you the PDF for all 6 pendulum boards that you can print out and use as you please. All right, everybody else, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and then click the little bell so you get notifications. Also hit that thumbs up if you enjoy this content so I know to make more like it. Leave a nice hello in the comments down below here. And if you have any questions or ideas for videos that you would love to see in the future, please, again, leave those in the comments below or shoot me that email, because I love taking requests. It is a lot of fun. Next video is coming out this Saturday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will see you all then.